If you don't get it, then what happens to the $600 that was intended to purchase it?
I was going to give it right back.
But you didn't.
No, I didn't.
This is the plaintiff, Jayla Thomas. She says she and the defendant are friends, and they're both gamers. So she lent him money to buy a new PlayStation 5, and he hasn't paid her back. The guy also cracked her TV when he threw a dog toy at it. And friend or no friend, she wants her money. And is suing for the $734 she's owed. This is the defendant, Alexander Guzman. He says the plaintiff gave him the money so he could buy a new PlayStation for her. He couldn't find one, but spent a lot of time and money looking for her. And she said he could keep the money and keep looking. He did damage her TV accidentally and paid her already for that and doesn't understand why she's suing him today. He's accused of letting his friend down.
All parties, please raise your right hands.
What you are about to witness is real. The participants are not actors. They are actual litigants with a case pending in civil court. Both parties have agreed to drop their claims and have their cases settled here before Judge Marilyn Milian in our forum, the People's Court.
People's Court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Marilyn Milian is now presiding. Litigants have been sworn, Your Honor.
Thank you, Douglas.
You're welcome.
Okay, Ms. Thomas, what's going on?
So around November 12th of last year, I lent Alexander here $600 to get a PlayStation 5.
For himself or for you?
Excited. For him.
Okay.
Because we both were gamers, we both were excited for the new PlayStation to come out. So he didn't have the funds to get it, so that's why I sent him the $600. And then he never got the PlayStation, and he never gave me the money back.
Can I ask you, I think I saw evidence of the Cash App or the transferring of the funds. Did you write a notation on it at all? Or did you not?
No.
You should always write a notation on that. It's like the memo line of checks. You should always explain what it's for from here on in so you don't have this issue. Mr. Guzman, she says she loaned you $600 for you to get a PlayStation. You neither got the PlayStation nor did you return the money. Let me hear from you.
It was never a loan. The money was given to help her get a PlayStation. It was
to help her get a PlayStation.
Yes, the whole point was the ideology is basically like entering into a raffle. The more people that you have in it, the better your possibility of getting it. November 12th, I was at her campus. And she wanted to get it, and since I don't have the funds for it, why would I buy it? She gave me the money to help her get it.
I don't understand. Why are you uniquely situated to get it? What do you mean by lottery?
Because I've been friends with her for around 5 years.
Yeah, so but why would she give you money? Why wouldn't she just buy it herself?
Because no, she's trying as well. The whole thing is it's having multiple people in the queue, hopefully trying to get it. It's like entering in a raffle. The more let's say the more times your name is in there, the better your chances are getting it. That was the whole reason of it.
Right, but if your name in the raffle hasn't come up, why give you the money?
We weren't able to obtain it. This
That's right. So why give you the money? If the only thing she was doing was asking you to be a placeholder, why would you have earned the money, one? And why would you have the money, two? Because it sounds much more like what she's saying, because what you're saying doesn't make any sense.
Well, the money that was given to me was to help her. The case is that if I got it, she gets it.
And if not,
I don't benefit from this at all.
And if not, what?
If not, what?
If you don't get it, then what happens to the $600 that was intended to purchase it?
I was going to give it right back.
But you didn't.
No, I didn't. And that goes into another situation where my financial circumstances, I had a bill that depleted my account. It tapped into the $600. Me and her had a conversation about it, because when I noticed it, I told her instantly. And I sat down and I explained my financial situation towards her, because she's been around for the longest. So she saw me struggle during COVID. I wasn't able to get unemployment, and she saw every step of the way. So I spoke to her, teared up over the phone, and basically broke down everything that has happened. And she told me, "It's okay, Alex. You can have the $600. Is yours. Do whatever you so please with it."
Did you ever tell him, do whatever you so please with my money, Ms. Thomas?
No, I never did.
Okay. Do you have any evidence that she said, do whatever you so please?
No, because all the conversations were verbal.
Well,
We
they
were very
weren't.
close
There's
friends.
plenty of text between you guys. I've read a lot of the
On my
texts.
behalf. Well, yeah, I send messages regarding the a situation with the TV,
Let's talk about the
regarding a
TV. What happened with
situation
the
with the.
TV, Ms. Thomas?
So on March 23rd, he was on my campus again, and he was playing with my dog.
Does he
And
go there or he doesn't go there?
no, he doesn't go there. He was just visiting.
Okay. And how is it you know each other?
We were best friends in high school.
Okay. So go on.
So he was playing with my dog and his rubber bone toy, and my dog
They
snapped
let you
at
have
him
a
to
dog
get
on
the toy back.
campus?
I was watching him momentarily for my mom.
Oh, okay. So go on. Go on.
Yeah.
Don't tell my daughters. That's all I'm saying. All right. So go on.
Yeah, my dog snapped at him to get the toy back, and he threw his hand back, and the bone slipped out his fingers, and it hit my TV and broke it.
Okay. And what's your version of
And
that, Mr. Guzman?
Oh no, it's practically verbatim. I was playing with the dog and I grabbed accidentally the wet side of the toy. When the dog went to go bite, I snapped my hand back as a reaction, and the toy slipped out of my hand.
Okay. Have you paid for that?
I gave her $100 towards the TV. Yes.
And she says that the TV was 300 and something, but what you broke was an old TV, so let's call it even at 234. So she's suing you for the 134 remaining. What is your response to that?
Oh, I had no problem paying it.
When did this happen?
I had a discussion with her. This happened, I believe she said March 23rd.
Okay, when you say I have no problem paying her, you haven't. So why haven't you?
All right.
Other than the 100?
Yeah. So during the time I wasn't working, my financial position was still the same. As of recently, I was able to get a job, and during that period, I wasn't able to pay her because I didn't have any funds to pay her. This isn't anything new because we were close friends, so she knew my financial situation the entire time. When I was able to get a job, I gave even before the job, I gave her 50, and then from my first paycheck, I gave her $50 from it as well. She contacted me a month later asking like, "Hey, I'm tired of reminding you," because she wants to be a priority of mine. When I explained to her like, "Hey, listen, I'm not at the best position right this moment. I'm helping my grandmother out. I can't put her in front of my grandmother when it's the roof over my head. I don't want to be a financial burden on my grandmother. I try my hardest to not stress her out and do everything on my own. My grandmother, my grandmother does enough for me, and helping her out with the bills is one of the smallest things that I can do. And I tried to explain that to her, and she just didn't care.
Should she?
I mean, I would say so. If it's the position that you've been around for so long, you've heard me every step of the way. I've explained to her
So your
everything
defense
that has
is she can
happened.
afford it, I can't.
Kinda. It wasn't that she was struggling financially because she went out and bought a more expensive TV. And also to keep in mind, she wasn't asking for anything at any time. It was after her being reprimanded for her negligence on a COVID situation that then she flipped the script, got upset, and then was just like, "I want everything right now.
Okay,
I
talk to
want
me
all
about
my
that.
stuff."
What happened there?
Oh, I am more than willing to. So the COVID situation transpired after after the TV. Her mom was nice enough to give me a ride back to my house because I was stranded on her campus because had to get a new debit card. So we spin around 2 hours in the car, windows up, no masks. We all trust each other. We get home, she's talking to me, we're talking. Then she tells her roommates that her mother tested positive for COVID.
Is that
To let
after
you
or
know, her
before the
roommate.
ride that you got?
This was after the ride.
Well then, okay, so what is the thing you scolded her for?
So she tells her roommates that weren't in contact with the mother. I don't find out through Jayla. I found out through a casual conversation I'm having with one of her roommates. Like she tells me like it's something nonchalant. I call Jayla when I find out that her mother tested positive. So I call her. My
How
phone
long
call
was that after
denied.
you had contact with her mother?
This was around 2 to 3 days.
Okay.
So I'm So I'm confused because I'm the one that I've been in contact with the mother. I sat in the car with her. We all were talking. No windows were open. No air circulation, and she's telling her roommates before
Which, by the
telling me.
way,
And then when
you have fingers. You could roll down the window, right? I mean, and you do
I
have
mean,
the
of course,
ability to
of
have a
course, of course.
mask. But okay, go ahead.
I mean, of course, but when it's the case that like you trust his family, you've
Right,
been
but what
around
do
his
you, when you
family.
say trust, do you think that the mother knew that she had COVID and exposed you to it deliberately? Or do
I
you
don't
think that
believe that she
Jayla
did it
knew her mother
deliberately.
had
No, no,
COVID?
no.
And right, so when you say trust, I don't know what that means because we're all a hair away from getting COVID at all times. Even the
That is true,
inoculated
but
are.
her mom is a germaphobe. She normally keeps everything very like
Okay, so it was
clean
a
and
bad
stuff.
gamble, but what do you mean I scolded her? Why would you scold her? You're just as
No,
guilty
no,
of being,
reprimanded because
why?
when I called no no because when I called her to talk about it, to know what's going on, my call was denied. I get a text message basically saying, "Yo, I'm busy right now. I'll talk to you later."
And?
And I'm waiting for her. I'm waiting for a response from her. This is a dire situation, and my problem with it was you're letting people know who wasn't in contact with your mother. Not to mention I'm asthmatic. My grandmother's diabetic. I
So
have so
what
many
what
things
do you
going
end
on
up
over.
talking to her after that at all?
She calls me after I say like, "Hey, what's going on with your mom? Your mom tested positive," and she tells me she's like, "I just have a bunch of stuff going on. My floor's wet. That's why I didn't tell you." And I'm confused why the priority is a wet floor over one of your closest friends' lives, because
Okay.
this is something that can be transferred so quickly,
Right.
and like the same way
Which is
that how
why if
she
you're
has
living
family, I
at your
have family as
grandmother's
well.
house and she's a diabetic, you should probably have a mask on and windows open wherever you are. Whatever contact you have with anybody, whether it's her mother or your friends or whatever it is you're doing, you need to be very, very careful because you are living in your grandmother's house and she's a diabetic and so you need to be real careful. But
No,
what does this have
definitely.
to do really with the defense in the case to the money? Because now you're
Because
telling me you acknowledge that you're supposed to pay the 600 back. That's not what you said in your answer to the complaint, but you seem to be
no.
acknowledging
It's
it.
not that I was never I was going to initially give the 600 back prior to my account being depleted
And then what? And
and
then
it
now you
tapping
don't
into
have
the
to?
600.
Like
But no,
you
no,
either have to
I
or you
had a
don't have to. It's
conversation with
one or
her.
the other. It's not.
No, no. I'm sorry. There's a level of context that's being missed. What I said earlier was that I had a conversation with her about my financial stability after the depletion of my account and it tapped into the 600. Then she tells me that I
When
can
you say
have the money.
depletion, you mean a bill collector collected a bill, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
And I spoke to her about this, and she said it's okay. You can have it. You do what you want. And her reasoning for it was that unemployment was treating her so well that the 600 didn't do anything for her, and that she understood what I was going through. So from there, from that point to then going to after the COVID situation with me being frustrated with her about her not updating me, her not telling me anything. Now she goes, "Oh, well, I'm just gonna go and buy a TV, and I'll let you know how much
On
it
April
costs."
12th, she texts you, "Yeah, I got the TV. It came out to $334.77, but I'm taking off 35 because I paid for a protection plan, so 299."
Hmm.
There's no answer from you, or at least none that I'm being provided. Then, "Hey, Alex, I don't want to come off as rude, but it's been a month since you've put another payment towards the
Hmm.
money you owe me. You say you don't play around when it comes to money, but it's starting to come across as the opposite. From now on, I would like to enforce a payment plan towards what you owe me, so it isn't something that's forgotten about anymore. Every 2 weeks when you get your check, can you send $50 towards what you owe me? If you want to send more than that, that would be great, but $50 every 2 weeks can easily get this paid off fast. Thanks." Your answer: "Sorry, I'm helping my grandmother with bills. When blank gets better, I'll let you know." She says, "Dude,
Hmm.
$50 isn't a lot. I have to say something to get paid, my dude." You say, "You've shown in past problems that family comes first. So I'm taking your advice and actions literal. My grandmother comes first. My situation over
Hmm.
here is, of course, my priority. If you had bills to pay, you wouldn't be flexing on Instagram about a $600 camera you bought. Genuinely, don't talk to me about money. I understand where you're coming from. And to hear my point of view, things are breaking down at my home. So I have to fix it. So you're going to have to wait. And like you told me, when I'm good and I bounce back from COVID, I'll pay you back like I told you. The TV, I'll handle that. The 600 is going to come back a little later. But for now, I'll let you know when everything over here is fixed. So my apologies for the inconvenience. Thank you for your understanding. Sincerely, your best friend, Alex. It sounds mighty sarcastic. Ms. Thomas, at this point, are you guys no longer talking to each other?
Yes, after that argument, we haven't spoke since then.
Okay, I'm not going to combat you on what's logical and how things should work because you had enough money and you gave me that $600 wholeheartedly with no problem telling me I can pay it back when I so please. So as he's so grateful. So as your beautiful friend, I need you to understand that just because you can't think straight doesn't mean everybody's going to think as curved as you. So sorry for the inconvenience, not necessarily, but I like this energy, so thank you. Your friendly neighborhood best friend, heterosexual, talented, amazing, sexy individual, Alexander Daniel Guzman, the 27th. Glad you understand I'm not accepting that. You've owed me $600 almost a year now. You seem to think that because you can't afford it, that's a defense, and it's not. And you seem to think because she doesn't need it, she doesn't get it. And that's also not true. You either owe it or you don't. It's either a gift or it isn't. It's a shame that you guys are best friends in high school and now apparently aren't going to talk to each other anymore, you know, over money. But if I had to pin who's at fault, it's you, it's not her, because you got kind of really nasty about it. And you know what you should have been. Okay. And then at some point she texts you and says, how about $20 every 2 weeks? Just show me you're making an effort. And you're like, no. You know, I mean, come on. Mr. Guzman, I'm entering a judgment against you for the entire $734 plus your court costs. Ms. Thomas, good luck, folks.
I mean, fair enough.
So the judge finds for the plaintiff in this case, the defendant definitely owes her the money and he's going to have to pay it. Mr. Guzman, why is it so hard to get a PlayStation? What's the deal here? Can't you just go down and buy one?
PlayStation 5 is basically something that's very limited right now. Everyone in the world would like one, but due to like COVID circumstances, it's hard for them to manufacture them. So basically, the whole thing was doing her a favor, so she was able to get one.
She did get one, you're saying?
Yeah, she got one.
Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Ah, okay.
Yes.
So then you got to give her the money back anyway. You should understand that. All right, I'm sorry. And this has kind of killed your friendship, I gather. Is that right?
It's actually a win instead of a loss. And to be honest, even with the decision being the decision, I cannot be happier about it because it's not like life slows down over here. I still move the way I move. I got things to plan. And I'm genuinely happy that it's over, if anything.
Okay, good. Glad you're delighted, but you got to pay her the money. Ms. Thomas, how do you feel about the outcome of this case? You're going to get the money now. The friendship seems like it's kaput. You okay with that or not?
I'm completely fine with it, honestly. We had a falling off for a while now, and I just feel as though some people are in your life for a reason, a season, a lifetime, and he was just a season.
Yeah. All right, so congratulations. I hope things work out better for you. And by the way, you got the PlayStation, so you're back playing again?
Yep.
Okay, good for you. All right. Harvey?
So, Doug, the presumption when money passes from one person to another is that it's a loan and not a gift. But again, I want to urge people that when you loan somebody money, follow it up with an email, follow it up with a text, and say, I was happy to loan you the money. Please pay me back as soon as possible. That protects your rights.
You leave your phone in an Uber and they inform you that they have it and will either mail it or meet up with you, and they don't. Can I sue that driver for the cost or the amount still owed of the phone and the replacement?
Well, rule one in America is you can sue anybody for anything.
There you go.
Yes, so the question is, would you succeed? Interestingly, states have laws that govern some of these mislaid or lost property things for personal property. In fact, here in Connecticut, they have a law that says that if you find personal property that is worth more than $1, you have an obligation within 48 hours to report it to the nearest police precinct. And they have a follow-up procedure where you might have to deliver it to them within a few days after that. So they're set up to try to locate.
I don't understand why she finds herself in this position. If he tells her he has it, go to where he is and get it.
Right.
Or
No,
pay him to come to where you are, which we've had happen. We've had our daughter left a purse and. Remember,
who hasn't left something in
Sophie
a cab
was
or
maybe
in an Uber?
13 or 14 and called us crying, this is why I can't have nice things. Right. She left a nice purse I'd gotten her in a taxi cab. Right. And we track down the taxi. And I said, just bring it back and we'll pay you for the ride back. And that's what he did.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. But, if you're going to try and sue somebody for that, I guess it would be like a common law conversion where they've got the property and they deprive you of it as the rightful owner, knowing that it's yours.
And then all you're entitled to then is the value of the property that you can prove that he has and won't give you, the depreciated value. You don't get to sue for both replacement and the money you still owe on this one.
And then it becomes a question of the timeline too, in terms of, is the finder of fact, whether it's a judge or a jury, going to find the person liable? It would be, what's reasonable for an Uber driver or a cabbie? They say, you get a hold of them, they get a hold of you somehow, and they say, hey, listen, I'm a busy guy. Pick up your phone by Friday or by the end of tomorrow. I'll hold it for a couple of days for you, no problem.
Like, what's the plan that they made? Because he's driving around.
Plus, it's your phone. Don't you want to get it immediately?
So you either make an arrangement to pay him for the ride to your house, or you ask him where he is, and you get a ride to where he is
right away.
Right.
I mean, come on. Most people walk barefoot over broken glass to get their cell phone.
Certainly,
right
my
away.
children.
Our kids definitely.
This is the plaintiff, Otto Lambrianidis. He says he hired the defendant to make repairs in his upstairs bathroom, and the guy did a lousy job. The defendant kept telling him he'd come back and make the necessary repairs, but is giving him the royal runaround, and he's had it with the liar. So he's suing for the $1,000 he's owed. This is the defendant, Jeffrey Drayon. He says he did the work for the plaintiff. The guy checked it out, paid him, and that was that. Then he hears from the plaintiff 3 months later, and all of a sudden he's being accused of breaking a tile. He categorically denies breaking a thing, and the plaintiff's clearly trying to get him to do a repair job for free, and he refuses. He's accused of shoddy workmanship.
All parties, please raise your right hands.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Next case on the docket. The plaintiff says he hired the defendant to do some repairs in his upstairs bathroom, says the guy botched the job royally. But the defendant says he did the work in the guy's house, he checked it out, the plaintiff paid him, and that's that. It's the case of, you damaged my bathroom, so now I want to be flush with cash.
Thank you, Douglas.
You're welcome.
All right, Mr. Lambrianidis, can you tell me what happened here with your handyman?
Sure. We needed some repairs in the house, nothing extreme, just some work that the handyman could handle. My wife got the name of Jeffrey from the church bulletin, and we hired him first to come in and replace a ceiling fan. He came in, did the work, and paid him $350. Everything looked fine. We had a punch list with a couple other things. So I figured, let me use him again. So I hired him to work on the upstairs bathroom, painting it. The door stuck, some caulk work, and there was some broken tiles. So that was the repairs I asked him to fix.
Okay. Did you set a price with him?
I asked him for a price. He didn't give it to me, but because he was reasonable on the first job, I just assumed he would give me something reasonable, and he did. And the price he gave me was reasonable.
$750.
Correct, and that was reasonable for the work
And
he
you,
did.
so he did it in how many days?
1 day.
And you paid him his money. So what was it that you changed your mind about? Because I presume you looked at the job before you paid him his money.
What he did was he came in with, the first time he came with, I believe it was his partner, and he did the work, and he was fine. The second time he came to do the bathroom, he came with another worker. He did the repairs. I came back late at night, probably around 7:30. The worker was still there, finishing up. I came in, and I looked around. It looked like it was okay. I paid him the amount.
You paid who the amount? The co-worker?
I paid Jeffrey the amount.
Oh,
No,
Jeffrey
I paid
was
Jeffrey.
also there then.
Yeah, he came in the evening.
Okay, you inspected the work and you paid him the $750.
Right.
And
right.
then what happened?
Then the next morning, when I looked at the work a little more carefully, I realized a couple of things. One, the caulking that he did in the shower stall was very shoddy. Two, he was supposed to, I gave him 5 tiles, right? Because, I keep tiles, extra tiles in the house just in case for things like this. I gave him 5 tiles to replace 4 of the tiles. I figured I'd give him an extra one just in case. And he only repaired 2 of them, but he used 4 of them, and he actually cracked another one, a 5th tile. And
A tile that was a spare that you had handed him, or a tile that was in the floor?
Not a new one, the one on the floor.
Okay, hold on one second. Okay, now where is this tile that you didn't notice it beforehand?
If you look at another picture, I took a picture of the tile. It was right when you walk in. That one right there, if it's right below that door jamb. It's cut off, but it's on the floor.
Okay, well, if I can't see it in this picture, I want to see the picture where I can see it. Do you have the picture in your telephone?
Yes.
All right, so just put your phone up to the camera so that I can see it. Okay, so how is it that you didn't notice that that was cracked before you paid the guy?
What I suspect is when I walked into the house, he was literally, his worker, Jeff was there, his worker was still there working. He was working on the door jamb, just finishing up the door jamb, and he must have, when he was working on the door jamb, I'm assuming, right? It's the only thing I could do, is he must have dropped the hammer because he was chiseling a little bit at the door jamb to fix it. And he must have dropped the hammer, and he dropped it right where the tile cracked. I just know that that wasn't one of the tiles that was originally cracked. And so I just didn't notice it. Maybe the worker was standing there. And
well, how long after they left your house did you notice it? The next day?
I noticed it that night, and I called Jeff the next day.
Okay. What time did you call him the next day?
I would say early, maybe about 9 o'clock in the morning.
And when you called him, what'd you tell him?
I told him that his worker must have cracked the tile when he was working.
And what was his response?
And he goes, okay, I'll come and fix it.
Did he ever go and fix it?
No, I texted him when he's going to come and fix the tile because he never called me back. And then on the same day, he texted me back and said, okay, I'm going to come. And I also indicated, listen, this is an emergency. I know you're busy, but when are you going to come and fix it? Because he kept saying to me in a couple of days, So then I called him several times. I contacted him a couple of times.
And what would he say to you every time that you would call him?
He wouldn't answer the phone. And then I texted him again that based on him not calling me back, they're going to force to take him to small claims court.
Okay, and did you get a reaction out of him then?
Right away. Miraculously, right away on 19th, he wrote back to me, you're going to sue me for a broken tile? And then on...
Which is Mr. Drian? Is that how I pronounce your name?
Yes.
Yeah, Mr. Drian, that is the greatest phrase anyone has ever uttered in my courtroom. You're going to sue me over a broken tile. I am a small claims judge. What do you think my life consists of? It's just a bunch of broken tiles. Nobody's here over the heir to the throne of Saudi Arabia. They're all here over broken tiles. Why weren't you responding to the guy? That's why you find yourself in court. Talk to me.
Well, first of all, people do accuse me of things. If I fixed 3 tiles or 2 or 3 tiles in his bathroom, why wouldn't I fix the other tile?
Because it wasn't broken at the time that you fixed the tile, because your guy did the door jamb last and he dropped the tool.
Okay, all right.
That sounds very much the way this kind of thing happens.
Well, I questioned my guy and he says he didn't break the tile.
I'm sure he does say that. But did you ever tell him, no, I'm not fixing it, you have no proof we did it? Or did you repeatedly tell him, okay, I'll come by, I'll take a look at it, I'll change it, I'll do this, I'll do that, and then you ghosted after telling him you were going to come by?
I never said that I'd come by and fix it. I just said okay.
Oh, just a moment. Well, what does okay mean? Okay to what question?
Okay means to...
kick the can down the road and hope he forgets?
No, I don't do that.
Well, it sounds like exactly what you did. Where are the texts? My daughter actually cut her foot on it the other day. That didn't happen. Let's see.
No, she really did.
No, who breaks their... No, that's something we say to contractors to wake them up.
He has 3 children. How can he prove that I broke the tile?
What did you say to him in the phone conversation regarding the tile, Mr. Drian?
Well, first of all, he didn't call me about the broken tile. He said to me, I'm sorry, he did call me about the broken tile. And then I said, okay, if it's broke, I'll come take a look at it and fix it. However, I asked my guy, he didn't break it. Let me just say something. He's got 3 children. Now, I don't know who broke the other tiles. I didn't ask that. I just fixed the tiles. Why would?
But isn't
why
it
would
true?
I
Wait a
break
second.
Them?
Isn't it true that he called you at 9 o'clock in the morning, the
I don't
next
remember that.
morning,
That I don't.
right
That I don't
after the
remember.
nighttime that you guys had been there with tools right over that tile?
That I don't remember. And I did not work in his door jam. I did not work in his door jam. The
Well,
only
did your
work I did
worker
was
work in his door jam?
No, we trimmed the door so it would fit because his door was swollen.
Yeah, but
It's an old door.
did that involve dealing with the door jam?
Well, he's saying it is, but really not.
So, according to him now, you think he should pay you $500 for a new bathroom door. Why is that?
What he did was the door was sticking a little bit. So what he did was his worker took the door off the hinges and shaved the door, which that needs to be done. When he shaved the door, he shaved it on one side about an inch, and then it tapers down to like a 1/8 of an inch. So it's a little tough to see in the picture. I try to do it as best I can, but he shaved the door down way too much. See, on one side, it's just shaving down so much.
If this is so offensive, when you shave a door, if this is so offensive a job, why'd you pay the guy? I mean, when you
I
shave
didn't
a door,
realize
you
until the
shave a
next
door.
morning.
You know, that's different than buying a new door that doesn't stick. It's a cheaper way to handle it, and that's fine.
Right, but these are original doors in the house. The house was built in 1936. These are solid wood doors.
Right. So what you see if you're a human is not this, because you're not a bee. You see this. So this is the one that's relevant to me to see whether there's such poor workmanship that you should get $500 for a new door. All right, the door jam. What do you say now? Is it just because he ignored you that you all of a sudden it's $1,000 claim?
Absolutely. I mean,
okay.
Yeah,
all right.
because
Now
you can see
the
it in the
tile
text.
work. Do you have an estimate for tile work that one tile replacement is going to cost $150?
I didn't get an
You're
estimate.
just making up the figures. All right, and then the recaulking. Let us talk about the caulking. Is this a picture of the caulking?
Yeah,
Okay, and what is your complaint about the caulking there?
it's just sloppy. It's just shoddy. It's
Okay.
way too much.
What say you about that?
Okay, first of all, that's a shower liner. It has a big gap between the tile and the shower liner. Behind that shower liner, I can bet my bottom dollar is full of mold. So what I did was, or what I didn't do, my worker did, he put a nice bead so it would at
That's
least
not a
fill
nice
in.
bead. I know a nice bead when I see one. That's
Okay.
not a nice bead. That's messy as hell. It is 3 times the size in one side of the tile than it is on the other side of the tile. A nice bead is even, right? And it's not that hard to achieve. It's like the one job the guy has. Who is this guy that you don't have here testifying? Is this just, is this somebody you found on the side of the road or somebody who works for you?
No.
Right,
It's one of my
'cause-
guys I use, Roberto.
I'm just kind of, look at this. Is this your best work?
Well, let me just say this.
Answer
It was
my
a very
question.
thick-
That's what I want you to say. Is this your best work? Can you see this picture?
I see the picture perfectly.
Is this your best work?
It's the picture says one thing, however, it's a big gap there that has to be filled in.
Okay, then there's also then why don't you just make it even all the way around instead of making it, tiny on one part and then bigger on the other? Why don't you do that?
Well, Mr. Otto did see it and paid me. He said, "Oh, it
Yeah,
looks
I know
great."
he
And
paid
that's
you. He
what
should never have done that. That's your problem, Otto. You paid him and then you checked the work the next day. All right? Or you check
No,
the
no,
work
he
later
checked
that
the
night when
work.
you're even more tired. And I can't stand it when a plaintiff says, I was tired, I didn't really look, and then I paid him. We had a case where the guy gave a $100 tip to the delivery guys before going upstairs and realizing that the delivery guys had ruined his new flooring. How about we tip after the job? How about we pay after we inspect? Because I wouldn't be here as often. Well, I'd be here anyway. You wouldn't be here as often. I'd be here the same amount of time. Lord above. Mr. Dreon, I understand what you're saying. He's got to prove that I did it. This isn't a criminal case where it's proof beyond and to the exclusion of every reasonable doubt. If he calls you the next morning and really the thing that makes sense is that a tool dropped, it's kind of enough for me that you should have just gone and made the guy happy and changed that one tile. If you had done that, we wouldn't be here. You can't say okay and then blow him off like that, because this is what will end up happening. And maybe I'm wrong, and in your line of business, if you do that, the other side will get tired and leave you alone, And that's why you do that. I don't know. So maybe 9 times out of
No,
10,
I don't-
you don't get
no,
sued
I don't
you
do that
seem
for that reason.
Well, then you seem shocked that he was going to sue you over a broken tile. I think you thought you could just say, yeah, no
I
problem,
am
I'll
shocked.
fix it.
I am shocked.
I know, but why should I not be shocked that you said, okay, I will go address it, and you didn't? Why didn't
Because
you?
a lot of people, because
I know,
many
but you
people
said
will call me
okay.
back to do
Right,
free work.
but you did not say to him, no way, blah, blah, blah. If you said okay, and then you later talked to your guy, and your guy said, I don't know what he's talking about, I didn't do anything, why didn't you then call him and say, hey, my guy says he didn't drop anything, so I don't think we did. Why is there nothing? Why is there ghosting?
Well, I'm busy as could be. I'm not
Okay,
gonna lie to
well,
you.
then you do that to your clients, because you did that to this client, and that's why you're here. You know, because he was patient, he left you alone for a while, then he texted you again, then he gets ignored for another month, and then he threatens a lawsuit, and then you're shocked and appalled. Okay. It's certainly not going to be $1,000. I agree with you on that he's just overreaching because he's angry. But based on the defects that I did see, I am going to order you to pay him $250 rebated of the money that he paid you.
So the defendant's going to have to give $250 back to the plaintiff. Jeffrey, let me ask you, how do you feel about giving him back $250?
You do what you got to do. That's it.
That's it? Well, he's got to get it fixed, then it won't be you, I'll bet he calls. All right, let's talk to Otto. Otto, how you feel right now? You didn't get $1,000. How do you feel about that?
No, I feel fine. I mean, this is a pure case of principle. My point is this. If he's done this to me, he doesn't look like a spring chicken. He must have did this several times, maybe hundreds of times to other people. He's not going to do this to me. And that's what the point of this case was.
Well, good for you. You prevailed. And you didn't have evidence to prove you deserved the $1,000.
That's fine. You know how difficult it is to get someone to come in to give you estimates on little things like just what happened? So I used what she uses, rough justice, right? To kind of just put together some numbers. And that's why I came up with $1,000.
All right, congratulations, $250. That's what you're going to get. And that'll do it, Harvey. A little rough justice from the plaintiff here. How about that?
Doug, the smoking gun here is the smoking tile. The fact that broken tiles were left in the bathroom sealed the case for the plaintiff.
Do you ever suspect that a participant is intoxicated? Would that change your perception of that person or how you rule?
Yeah. Yeah, it would, because I wouldn't be able to trust. I mean, like blatant intoxication.
Right,
Yeah, it would tell me a lot about them that they came intoxicated.
So you have.
It would color their testimony, and I have suspected that in the past. Sometimes people are just a little weird,
Right.
And you can't jump to conclusions, but. It's pretty obvious when somebody comes into court intoxicated in the old days where we weren't remote.
Right.
My bailiff would come up to me and say, you know, Douglas would just tell me, oh, he reeks.
That's
you know?
as bad as it gets.
Yeah.
And like I said, actually, it gets worse if a judge is intoxicated. That's probably
that's. There was a judge in Miami-Dade County
Right.
who would literally
Instead of
sign
signing
the
the order,
orders,
she would sign-
and then they'd take the order away, and then she'd sign the desk.
Right.
Because her water jug did not have water. This was many moons ago. This was a good 30 years ago.
My bailiff used to come and tell me whether he thought someone had just smoked crack. And,
Wow.
And so he could tell, or so he said.
And he would tell you, and the result then would be you'd have them
I might, depending on
order
how
a
they
urine
behaved,
test
I
and-
might
yeah.
have them drop a urinalysis that day if they were on probation or out on bond or something like that.
And if you learned that they did, in fact, violate the conditions, you take them into custody.
Problem.
That's going to do it today, and we will see you tomorrow.